CBS Sports presents the Geico Play of the Day.
Coming off of a preseason injury, Baltimore's Joe Flacco shows no rust with this pass that finds Jeremy Maclin late in the first half. Bengals cornerback William Jackson can't catch him. Maclin easily into the end zone. He gives the Ravens a 10-0 lead, brings a smile to the face of no ordinary Joe.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. This is the State Farm post-game show.
Back here in Studio 43, James Brown along with Phil Simms, Coach Bill Cowher, Nate Burleson, and Boomer Esiason. As you saw, Buffalo winning at 21-12 there. Folks have been saying this is the kind of New York Jets squad you're going to see all season long.
Just good enough to hang around, but they can't make the plays at the end of the game. You got to give Buffalo, I think, a lot of credit. The strength of their team, the offensive line, that's what won the game for them today.
I mean, well, LaShawn McCoy is still the heart and beat of that. And I love Tyrod Taylor. The one thing you're going to get with Tyrod Taylor is a mobile quarterback, good decision-making, and he will make plays. And these will be the kind of games they may be in all year long.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions about Tyrod Taylor, but guess who they were leaning on? LaShawn McCoy, shady out there, looking as good as ever. Even though he's an aging running back, still out there dominating at his position.
Just remember, only 22 players remain from last year's roster, so there's a major turnover going there.
Right.
And then for the Jets, Josh McCown, high completion percentage, very, I would say, non-risky.
Yeah.
A couple interceptions today, but I think it's, they need a while to get used to each other. There were times where I thought it looked like Josh McCown was throwing off the wrong foot, but he really hasn't played.
Well, who are the playmakers for the Jets when you look at their offensive
Well, there
side?
aren't any. There really
so
are
that's
not.
the big problem.
Right,
but it's those new pieces, just like you talked about,
right,
guys that they brought in.
Yeah, a couple new wide receivers and everything else. So I think this is what you're going to see from the Jets. It's probably what the not the Jet players or coaches, but if you are trying to get yourself the #1 overall pick in the next year's draft after only week 1, that's the way it's going to be.
Let me come back to Coach's point about the Tyrod Taylor. By the way, the defining play in the game, Tyrod Taylor's 12 plays, 77-yard touchdown drive. But emphasize again what you've seen in Tyrod that you like, Coach.
Again, I go back to the decision-making and his mobility. He can extend plays. He can look still down the field. They took a lot of weapons away from him, Robert Woods and Sammy Watkins, and he's working now within this group. And he is indeed the guy that's going to have to make these decision-making. He's going to have to be able to not take the risk, lean on that defense, which looked very, very good today.
That's the way he is, though, Bill. That's the way he's played for 2 years up in Buffalo. He's a low-risk quarterback. I really never have understood why he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He plays exactly the way the coaches ask him to do it, and he did it again here today.
Yeah, a lot of criticism he got as a quarterback. Even the questions within the preseason saying, is he the guy for the job?
Yeah.
But really, why would you ask that when you have a guy that can deliver those beautiful balls downfield? Some question about the intermediate throws, but even today we've seen he can complete those as well.
It's just extending plays, being spontaneous, making plays. Very few players can do that in the league and stay there and be consistent week in and week out.
Yeah.
That's probably the one thing. And plus, they overpaid him. Let's face it. That's one of the reasons why he was no longer going to be the quarterback of the Bills unless he accepted less money.
What is overpaying for a quarterback these days? I think if you've
Coach, great question. That's such a great question.
Yeah.
But the other thing, too, is, though, that Sean McDermott gets his first win as a head coach now for the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
I thought their defense, caught a break because they're playing against a team that's probably going to have one of the least amount of first downs.
Yeah.
They're not going to score a lot of points. They're going to probably have the least amount of big plays. So really good start for Sean McDermott as the head coach of the Bills.
But Boom, what do you always say? You got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat in this league, right?
Especially
and they were supposed to win this game against the Jets.
And the playmakers for the New York Jets, you have to wonder if Bilal Powell, the injury to him, because that was one of the few playmakers they did have.
Yeah, listen, Detroit, about the offensive line, everything you talked about, they want to run the football. They did it well today. Tyrod Taylor played well. That's a formula to win.
All right, we are in post-game mode here as we get set to take you around the league as we take a look. And we welcome those of you who are watching the Pittsburgh Steelers-Cleveland Browns matchup, 21-18, the final there. We'll get the guys starting with Coach Bill Cowher. Pittsburgh did get it done, but not easy. Cleveland put up a fight.
Oh, they did put up a fight. I mean, it was all about Antonio Brown today. They could not stop him. He was a one-man wrecking show and out there. They held up Le'Veon Bell really till one run he had late in the game. But I thought defensively they did a pretty good job outside of what Antonio Brown did. And I loved DeShone Kizer. I mean, what he showed in his first outing out, I think there's a lot to build from there.
Yeah, credit definitely to the winners. I like to always give credit to those who win. But DeShone Kizer, the young fella, went out there. He earned his spot in the preseason. We wanted to see going up against a strong strong Pittsburgh defense, but he stood in there. He got some lumps. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to see some interceptions, but we also saw some throws that he can make.
You know, Deshaun Kaiser, good job by Hugh Jackson starting him. That was the right move. He's got a good offensive line in front of him. And the Steelers, very surprised their offensive line struggled the way it did today.
Yeah. And we'd also like to welcome in those of you who are watching Oakland at Tennessee. Oakland gets it done, 26-16, the final there. It was interesting to hear you guys, Boomer, especially you, characterize the difference between the two quarterbacks.
I think that to win on the road against a team that has high expectations like the Titans, and they're building a rough and tumble team, that's the way Mike Mularkey is trying to build that team real physical. Derek Carr's the difference maker. I don't care what anybody says. You watch the way he played on the road. He played like he did when he was at the top of his game last year before he got hurt. And then the addition of Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
You could see it. You could see it at the end of the game. And Phil was in here saying, you know what? This is when you know the Raiders are a good team. Why? Because at the end of the game, you knew what they were going to do. They were going to run the ball. And not only did they run the ball, they were effective running the ball when Tennessee couldn't stop it.
Close the game out. The hard thing to do. And I think the big surprise of the game, Tennessee. They did, you know, I thought Oakland's run defense was going to be a problem. It was not today. Tennessee didn't run the football like I expected them to.
And we'll give the other guys time to comment on those, but let's go to the highlights, Boomer, on this matchup.
All right, this is what I'm talking about, guys. Take a look at this. Watch Derek Carr. Boom! Ball right out of his hands quickly, breaking tackles. He's got three really tremendous wide receivers, not to be denied. Touchdown right there. Watch this throw. One quick step. It's on a line. It's about 25 yards in the air. It's a 19-yard touchdown pass to Seth Roberts. And this is what I was talking about, going on the road and winning with your quarterback. Marcus Mariota had a really good game, but Derek Carr played better and controlled the game more.
After the game, our Tracy Wolfson caught up with the aforementioned Derek Carr.
Well, congratulations, but just to be out here after what took place at the end of last season with a broken leg, to finally be able to play in another live game, what was it like?
I think for both Marcus and I, it was fun. You know, to see him back, you know, and healthy, that means a lot to me. You know, anytime anyone goes down, you feel for him. So it was fun to be back out.
How'd you feel physically?
I felt great. Like I said, you know, in the production meeting, this is the best shape I've ever been in my life. My ankle's stronger than ever, honestly. So, you know, I'm looking forward to a fun year, but we're on to the next one.
We look at this offense. I mean, first off, you can't say what Tavecchio did with his field goals today, but the addition of Marshawn Lynch, and then, of course, your wide receivers and your new tight end, what can you say about what this offense could do in the future?
We can do a lot. We can do a lot of things, but right now we have a lot to clean up. And you know, the thing with us is we're never satisfied. Yes, we won. We're happy. We'll celebrate it on the way home. But we got to get back and clean a lot of things up. We are talented, but that means nothing. We got to go put in the work.
Got the first win in the books, though. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good to see you, Tracy.
Well, you talk about Derek Carr. What a day today. Really solid. He can make all the throws. If it has to be soft, on a line, he can move around, change his arm angle. He was just born to throw something. It just happens to be a football in the National Football League. 22 of 32, 262, 2 touchdowns, and also the Raiders, just to show you the overall talent on their team, they ran the ball well with Marshawn Lynch. You said it, Boomer. Mariota, good solid day, but Derek Carr, just another outstanding outing by him.
You know, the one thing I'd say about Derek Carr, you know, we're waiting to see this from Marcus Mariota. In his third year, Derek Carr a year ago took his team to the playoffs. He made the next step. That's what we're waiting to see with Marcus Mariota. Can he take the step in his third year, this year, that being that, take his team to the next step? You know, he had some good numbers today, but you saw some of the throws and some of the weapons that Derek Carr has around him. Andre Roberts steps up, and you know he's got Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree. Right. Then he's got Marshawn Lynch. This is a very complete offense, and their defense was impressive today.
Yeah. We were talking about this offense, and Derek Carr, he's fantastic. The weapons are there, Crabtree. You got Cooper, of course, and Marshawn Lynch. But the offense coordinator, Todd Downing, his first year out, first time, opening up the week, he goes out there and has a good outing. I was texting with him last night, and he said, good luck, because he knows I'm on the big stage with the big dogs. He said, we both have a big day tomorrow. And guess what? As offense coordinator, he showed out.
You know what, though, JB? You just heard Derek Carr after the game with Tracy, right? And you listen to what he says. That's exactly what you want your quarterback saying. You know, we got a lot of talent, but we got to put the work in. You know, this is one game. All of the cliches that you like to hear, but you can hear it with confidence coming out of his voice. So there's no question that this kid will be a top 3 or 4 quarterback in the league over the next 5 years, maybe even ascend to the #1 quarterback in the league when some of these other guys retire. But he definitely has a really, really bright future.
I think Nate just called his dogs. He calls dogs
big dogs.
Big dogs. Okay, well, we're big dogs too. There's no question. But you know the difference between the two quarterbacks is the Oakland Raiders are built around, I think, Derek Carr. And then when you look at the Tennessee Titans, they're trying to do it with their offensive line. We're going to run the ball, so it's not all on the shoulders of the quarterback. And the fact that it's on Derek Carr, I just think it makes him always dangerous no matter what the situation is.
And you're right, Phil. These are two complete different systems. I mean, you look at the Raiders, they want to open it up and they want to spread it out and let him make those decisions. And I think with Marcus Mariota and with Mike Mularkey, a lot of it is about, different formations and trying to use his running skills. And it's a power game with the play action deep pass every now and then. So there's no margin of error with that, and you got to have a defense that can keep you in the game.
Speaking of no margin of error, I love the legs, the escapability of Marcus Mariota, but do you want to protect him just a bit more behind the line?
I would just say this. Running quarterbacks are great when they make a first down here or there, but if you have to call plays where you are asking him to run the football like they do in Tennessee, I think you're asking for problems. You want to win a Super Bowl, you got to be Matt Ryan, you got to be Tom Brady, you got to be Aaron Rodgers. Now you can move around a little bit, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not really the successful way in the NFL. The successful way in the NFL is delivering the ball from the pocket and delivering it on time. And you watch some of those throws by Derek Carr today, that's exactly what you saw.
Yeah, as a wide receiver, I can appreciate a quarterback that can negotiate the pocket with his feet. But I love the quarterbacks that once they start to run, their helmet still remains up. They're not looking for the first down. They're not looking for the linebackers. They're still looking to pass the ball. And you mentioned Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Those guys do it beautifully.
Patience in the pocket. We saw it Thursday night. Alex Smith showed some patience. What happened? He hit some long passes down the field. We don't give quarterbacks enough credit for standing there and making the throws.
You're right. We should give quarterbacks more credit.
And we'd like to welcome those of you who are watching the Jacksonville at Houston Texans game. Jacksonville, huge on that win there, Nate.
Yeah, and how about this game? Right out the gate, there's J.J. Watt right there. He gets an ovation by the fans for the millions that he's raised to Harvey Relief. And they're dropping back right here. And they're going to make a play right over the top. Savage gets hit, and Dante Fowler Jr. picks it up, scoops and score. This Jacksonville defense stepped up big. 8 sacks in this game. I'm trying to tell you, you got to watch out for these guys. Blake Bortles right there making a play, looking for his tight end on the 1-yard fullback, on the 1-yard TD. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, 29-7. That defense, Calais Campbell came in 3.5 sacks doing what they brought him there to do.
As a matter of fact, Nate was talking so much about Leonard Fournette, that is, after the game. It was our Steve Tasker who caught up with a powerful running back.
Leonard, you came in, you told us yesterday you're not too interested in your carries, you're not too interested in yards, but you had 26 carries for 100 yards. You really carried the load in the first half. Did you know that going in?
No, sir. I didn't know the plan at all. But I thank God for giving me this opportunity to come out with my team. My heart's still out to these Houston people for the hurricane, man. And without God, I wouldn't be here.
You said that you were going to try and just kind of hang in there, go with the game plan. You were going to take the carries they gave you. Did you know your running game would power this offense the way it did today?
No, sir, I didn't. Like I said, my coach believed in me. My O-line believed in me. And we worked at it all week. And like I said, without God, I wouldn't be here.
Talk a little bit about the emotion you had to endure early on. You walked in this place, it was a buzzsaw for emotion. They thought they were going to come out and fly high. You guys kind of weathered it.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, man. I knew it was going to be crazy. We all knew it was going to be crazy out here because, man, of the relief that happened. So at the end of the day, they're men like we men. We had to come out and fight, and we did a great job preparing for this team and also fighting back.
10 years ago, your family had to come through Hurricane Katrina. You feel so much for this crowd, this fan base here in Houston. You donated $50,000 to JJ. You didn't even say hello to him, get a chance to say hi. You just did it from your heart.
Yeah, it's from my heart, man, because I wish for Katrina somebody did that for us. And it's only right I give back to the people and the less fortunate because they lost probably everything. And like I said, my heart still goes out to to Houston, and just keep moving forward.
Good luck the rest of the season, Leonard, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, talking about that Jacksonville defense, JB, they were all over any quarterback that was in there right now for the Houston Texans. They had 10 sacks, which is a franchise record. And again, we all talked about Dwayne Brown, their starting left tackle, is not in camp. He's holding out for a new contract. And Tom Savage, he just could not get out of the pocket. He has no mobility. So what did Bill O'Brien do at halftime? He said, you know what? I'm going to put in the rookie Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson showed some flashes with his feet, but still, for a rookie to go in there against that defense, that was too much to ask. And again, it'll be interesting to see where Houston goes from here.
They're going with Deshaun Watson.
Come
I would
on.
think
They have to.
They have to. But is this the shocker of the day? Really, just to see the way it turned out. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I think they envisioned their football team playing just this way. But we saw none of it in the preseason to think that we were going to see it in open
Look
day.
at those free agent additions on the defensive line for Jacksonville. Calais Campbell, 3.5 sacks in the first half.
Yep.
You know, my thing about Houston is they're going to have a good defense. They're going to be fine. They'll be in the mix of all this. It's just going to be a question of when Deshaun Watson finally feels comfortable in this offense. But there was no question that Tom Savage was a statue. And Tom Savage probably did more for Dwayne Brown than Dwayne Brown's agent is doing for himself right now.
And give a lot of credit right now to Tom Coughlin. You know, he came in there with Doug Marrone, and they said, you know, Blake Bortles was a guy that kind of won it by default in preseason. This is why we did not see any of this coming. But Blake Bortles came out of there. They ran the football. They got him out of the pocket. He got some good throws and got confidence early in this game and made some good decisions. This was the Blake Bortles they're hoping they're going to see the rest of this season.
Playing to his strengths. And keep in mind, the Jags have not had a winning season since 2007.
Well,
things have to be pretty optimistic right now. Go ahead, Phil, you were saying?
Well, we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Rams. And for the Indianapolis Colts today, Scott Tolzien's first pass of the day is intercepted by Tremaine Johnson and returned 39 yards for a touchdown. So what a start for this Rams defense under Wade Phillips. Boy, what a start for
It's 10-0 Rams.
10-0 Rams.
What a start for the rookie quarterback. You know, he's in just an unwinnable situation. And it's going to be, you know, all these teams, Indianapolis, Houston, all these teams that are starting these young quarterbacks, Cleveland, they're all going to be hamstrung early on, especially because these kids are just not ready to realize what they're dealing with. Even though Deshaun Kaiser looked like he had the understanding of it, I mean, he's got to get ready for another team next week. So he'll learn just how difficult it is.
You know, the one thing that Wade, you know, about Kyle Shanahan, and you knew he's going to take over. He's going to work with that offense. I thought that one of the best hires in the offseason, he's brought in Wade Phillips. To run this defense. And you're talking about defense.
Sean McVay,
yes. And Sean McVay brought in Wade Phillips to run the defense. And Sean McVay, we know what he did with Kirk Cousins in Washington. But you know what? They don't even have Aaron Donald on that field yet. We talked about him reporting today and not playing. So this is a team I think it's going to get better, and I think there's a good formula right there right now, particularly for Jared Goff.
Abundantly evident. You guys are champing at the bit to talk some football this season, and they are coming with it. All right, folks, and a reminder, coming up next on CBS Professional Bull Riding, where world champion Cowboys and Bulls are right in the middle of the mix-up at the, check this title out, PFI Western.com 1515 Bucking Battle. That's next right here on CBS, Boomer. And there's more to come on the State Farm post-game show right after this. We'll practice that one a few times, right?
This is the State Farm post-game show.
And welcome back inside Studio 43 and the State Farm post-game show. I'm James Brown alongside Coach Cowher, Boomer Esiason, Nate Burleson, and Phil Simms. Check this out. Nate Burleson, talk about double time, and he's also the host on Good Morning Football on NFL Network. Kyle and Peter have to be pleased indeed. All right, back to the highlights we go.
Yeah, up in Cleveland, the very first punt right here for Colquitt. Tyler Medikevich was going to block this. Picked up by Anthony Chickalo in the end zone. Early score for Pittsburgh, 7-0. Ben Roethlisberger had 2 touchdowns on the day. Both of them right here You're going to see Tyler, it's going to be right there to Jesse James. Antonio Brown, 11 catches, 182 yards. Ben, 24 of 36, 263 yards. The 21-18 victory, but certainly not as good as we had anticipated. Deshaun Kaiser, as you can see, 20 of 30, not a bad outing for the young rookie from Cleveland Browns.
Speaking of Roethlisberger and those numbers you just quoted, after the game, it was out Jamie Erdahl catching up with Big Ben.
Ben, it felt like it took some time for the offense to get into rhythm. What was the difference maker as that game progressed?
It's a good defense. Playing on the road, we don't care how we win it. We just want to win it. They were throwing a lot of different looks our way. That's what they're known for, and that's what we knew coming in. But we had to make some adjustments, and I thought we did a good job of that.
It had been quite some time since those 4 killer bees had played together. What was that like to get everybody back today?
Well, it was nice. I don't think we got to perform the way we wish we would have or wanted to or prepared to, but it's all right. A win's a win.
I know this is the earliest you've been in Cleveland. What did you attribute all the penalties to throughout the game?
I have no idea. I'll have to look at it because there was a lot, but it was nice coming to Cleveland. It's always nice to come to Cleveland and get a win, to see the sunshine, not wear long sleeves. It was a lot of fun.
All right, congratulations. Thanks.
Listen, let me just say this. There's no question they went into this game thinking all they had to do really is just not lose the game, because Ben is 21-2 going into it. He's now 22-2 against the Cleveland Browns. And again, yeah, it was a sloppy game from their standpoint, but they got the win, and it's something they can build off of right now.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell, he didn't have the game that he wanted, but when you don't have the game that you wanted from the running back perspective, the wide receiver, the number one, the superstar step up.
He did.
And how about Antonio Brown? 11 catches, 182. Those are video game numbers. He stepped up big, and they needed him.
He looks like a video guy.
Yeah, he does. And the only thing I would say about this whole game here, this is where you want to start if you're Pittsburgh, because you didn't play your best game and you come away with the victory, and that's all that matters. You know that they're going to be better and better and better each and every week. They'll be fine. And I thought their defense, not as good as I thought it was going to be coming out of the gate, especially against a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, but they had 7 sacks, and I think when you look at it again, there's a lot of young guys back there playing within this football team, and we talk about their secondary, but one thing that they had to like was the play of their young rookie TJ Watt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this guy really was very, very special in this game. When you look at him, he's got a motor. Here's a play right here. He ended up this day with 2 sacks and 1 interception. And watch him right here. Here is one of his sacks. Just again, like JJ, his brother, he's relentless as a pass rusher, just continues to chase the ball. He made a great interception at the end of the game. Again, even JJ in his career in 6 years has not had 2 sacks and 1 interception.
That's amazing.
So he's already done better than his brother in terms of those stats.
Well, you know what he did during the preseason, TJ Watt? He played a lot. Played on special teams. Cleveland's defense played inspired football today. And I really believe this. I'm asking you this, Coach. The Steelers' offense played so little in the preseason. You can't tell me that didn't have something to do with how they performed out there.
And with Le'Veon Bell. But let's give a lot of credit to this Cleveland Brown defense. Greg Williams came in here, and he, what he's done. He's had a history of having pretty good defenses around the National Football League, and they played very, very well, particularly up front. They outplayed the offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Nate Burleson talked about some video numbers as far as Antonio Brown is concerned. 30th 100-yard game, which is a team record. Video numbers for sure.
You're right about that, 100%. I saw him in the offseason, and I said, what do you do? He said, I train with my team. I train outside my team. I work with a gymnast to work on my balance. I go to Pilates and yoga. When do you have time to actually go to play football? But he does that to take care of his body, and it shows up on game day.
Well, Phil's a big Pilates guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it looks like it.
And therefore you're saying?
I'm a gymnast.
Not by the way he walks.
Wow.
Walks like he's got an arthritic hip.
Boom, boom, you're teed up on Baltimore Cincy.
You talk about the disappointing home openers. This has got to be number 1 by the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Flacco only completed 9 passes. Obviously, the wide receiver here, Jeremy Maclin, goes in for the touchdown. At halftime, it was 17-0. This game ended up 20-0. Andy Dalton threw 4 interceptions in this game. And all I can say to Andy is I had a game like this once and I wanted to quit. You don't quit. You got a long way to go.
Wait,
just boom, you wanted to quit? I was like so mad. I was so upset. And I'm sure that's how Andy Dalton feels today. But you'll live to play another day.
After the game, our Melanie Collins caught up with Joe Flacco and T-Sizzle.
Well, Joe, after missing the entire preseason, you come out today and put on this performance. Didn't look to have missed a beat. How great was it just to get this first game done?
Yeah, well, it's always huge, especially to come into this place. I mean, this is an ugly place to play. We don't have a lot of success here. Our defense really, brought brought it home for us today. That second quarter broke it open. They went and cover 0, brought an all-out blitz, and that's what kind of broke it open for us along with these guys.
Yeah, you mentioned your defense today and your veteran Terrell Suggs, of course. What can you say about the performance that they put on today? A shutout.
Well, it was awesome. I mean, from the very beginning, the way they got after them, the turnovers were huge. And then to go the whole second half with those guys kind of in 2-minute mode and not even let up a point, that's pretty impressive.
Terrell, your 15th NFL season, 2 sacks, a forced fumble. What allowed you to be so dominant today?
The grace of God, you know what I'm saying? I'm on that peaches diet. You know, I stay on my peaches diet, eat peaches before the game, after game, you know, and I'm able to have a lot of energy. So, but, you know, we've been playing really good football. You know, it's only one game. You know what I'm saying? It's good to go on the road, get a win, but we got a long season ahead of us.
You're the Darth Vader of this defense. You say the last of your kind. This is kind of a new wave of Ravens defense. What statement do you think you and these younger guys put on today?
Well, like I said, it's just game 1. You know what I'm saying? What we said is we're going to play fast football, but we're not satisfied. You know, we know the NFL season is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And we're going to enjoy this win tonight, but tomorrow we're on to Cleveland.
JB, we're going to get you some peaches.
Hey, I'm done.
Peaches diet.
The cherries work with me, but for the Peach Man, he did lead the charge with that D that was flat out excellent today.
Yeah, shout out to Peaches, and that's going to allow this defense to make some plays. Check out Andy Dalton dropping back, and they're being aggressive, oftentimes just rushing forward, but still putting that pressure on them. And this is where you get in trouble, those tip balls, 5 sacks, 5 turnovers, and check out the playmakers in that defense. Very aggressive when attacking the ball, and if they get that tip, these guys are going to seek to make plays. It kind of reminds you of that old school Baltimore defense. Very opportunistic, and you see exactly how they ended up.
Hey, guys, take a look at these 2 graphics right here between the Jaguars and the Ravens defense. Who says there's no defense in the NFL anymore? But take a look at the sacks, the takeaways, the total yards allowed, the defensive touchdowns. Dante Fowler Jr. had that 53-yard fumble return for the Jaguars. The Jaguars' Calais Campbell, they were all over Tom Savage and then really confused the young Deshaun Watson. It was great to see actually 2 defenses come out and play as well as they did.
Yeah, they really did, you know, and of course you talk about the Baltimore Ravens defense. Dean Pease, one of the most underrated defensive coordinators in the NFL, and you could see they were putting pressure. Hey, when you look at Baltimore, Ozzie Newsome, what is he like? Big. Man, you can't be big enough to play for them. And when you go out and you can see it even against the Cincinnati Bengals, even though we're a big team, Baltimore is just, that's how they play, and it worked for them today.
You know, they lost a couple guys in their offensive line, that being the Cincinnati Bengals. Andrew Whitworth, he left, their left guard left. So, you know, you saw, for whatever reason, an offense with a lot of playmakers that was out of sync. And this is an offense that's been there for a while now. Andy Dalton did not play a good game. I know a couple balls were tipped, but there's got to be some concern right now down in Cincinnati. They get shut out at home for the first time since what, 2001?
2001, yeah.
So that's there's a lot of questions.
2 young tackles they have, all that talent, and if your tackles can't protect you, they got Oboye that moved from right to left, and Fisher, a second-round draft pick a couple years ago. So that's always a big question mark when you're worried about both tackles.
You know, we had that Golden Boy segment earlier today, and we were talking about Flacco and what that means for him not having any preseason action coming out. And, Coach, you know this. Sometimes you got to walk in and tell your defense, hey, we need you guys to rally today. Your quarterback hasn't been on the field. Everybody needs to step up, and that defense stepped up
You know,
big.
I'm not so sure that Joe Flacco completed a pass in the second half. I don't think he did. I don't think
17 attempts.
Right. I mean, he really did not have to. I think he might have had 9 completions in the first half. And watching that interview after the game, he didn't even break a sweat. His hair looked like Phil's, all puffed up and everything. It was amazing.
You're right.
Nate was
100%.
talking video game. Let me play off of that again. And who was the video man with the name Macklin? What was his name today?
Jeremy Macklin.
I'm just messing with him. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, Jeremy Macklin, you talk about not working up a sweat. He's on the outside. The tight end's going to go to the out, and they just get a natural pick. Macklin comes underneath. The Bengal defenders run into each other, and Jeremy Macklin has the speed to take it for a touchdown. And what they did with Joe Flacco, they treated him like a rookie quarterback. Don't put too much pressure on him. You know, few throws, no turnovers. Good day for Joe Flacco.
Yeah, you kind of left yourself out there. You know, Joe Flacco's been in this league long enough to see no safety in the middle of the field. That was a pretty easy throw right there. And again, you know, I mean, this is a good Baltimore defense. And I think what they did, as you talked about, is they limited the amount of throws that Joe Flacco was going to have, eased him back into playing. And this is a big win for the Baltimore Ravens, and they just took it in stride. This is a good defense.
Yeah, we're looking at the weapons that they have. Terrence West, he got in the end zone. Mike Wallace last year put up 1,000 yards, and Jeremy Maclin, which we just showed a few years ago, he was brought into Kansas City to revive that offensive passing game that didn't score a passing touchdown. So he's still a good wide receiver, but you get him in space with a little pick play, he's going to be wide open.
I know it's the 50th year that CBS's NFL Today has been on the air, right?
Yep.
This is the 50th celebration year for the Cincinnati Bengals. This is not the way that you wanted to start your season here for Marvin Lewis, not the way you wanted to start your season as you're celebrating your 50th anniversary. And I'm sure the Bengal fans were not very happy with what they saw today, both offensively and defensively.
As contrasted up at Orchard Park, it was the way that Buffalo wanted to get started today with the victory today, Phil.
Yeah, they played exactly how they wanted to play under Sean McDermott. You know, first off, they start Tyrod Taylor with a 1-yard touchdown pass to Andre Holmes. That's what you love, Boomer. You love those 1-yard touchdown passes.
Well, you had a bunch of them.
I sure did. Mike Tolbert runs it in on a 1-yard handoff. Tyrod Taylor, really solid day after an early interception, 16-28. LaShawn McCoy. So your quarterback plays solid, completes passes. You run the football well. That's just the keys to victory. And Buffalo did exactly what they wanted today.
Which is why it was a jubilant first-year coach in the locker room, Sean McDermott.
Stay humble. Stay humble. That's one. All right, that's one. Take care of yourself tonight. Win off the field, win on the field. Extremely proud of you, man. That's playoff caliber all the way through, baby. All the way through. Only going to get better. Got a lot of work to do, right? Yes, sir. Got a lot of work to do. We'll see them again in the division. Respectful in the media. Taking care of business in-house. In-house. Tyler, come on.
Wait, stop. Special delivery, baby. Hey, first win in the division, many more.
Hey, real quick. I want to say this. As a man of faith, I promised God that if we won, or when we won, I'd praise him. So thank God for this. Thank God for you guys as a team win. Bring it in. Here we go. Let's go. You got it.
Hey, fellas, that's the way to get the job done. Plenty more to come. Celebrate this for 24 hours and then brush it off. Learn from it. It's still some stuff we can learn from on tape, fellas. Continue to keep getting better. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
So, Bill Cowher, no need for the setup on that. Talk about what the coach did very clearly and concisely.
Yeah, you know what? For Sean McDermott, you always remember your first win. I remember my first win was down with playing against the Houston Oilers and in the Astrodome. And I still have the ball. It's a very special day. And for Sean McDermott, there's going to be many, many more of these days to come. He has got the pulse of that team. You can feel it in that locker room. He's brought some, I think, a little bit more structure back to that football team.
Yep.
And you know,
a little bit?
Yeah, and I think that there's going to be a lot more wins to come for this guy.
Yeah, more so than watching players on the field. When I see footage of locker room action, I take myself into the locker room, and I'm listening to him right out the gate. He says, stay humble. Stay humble. And I think he wanted to emphasize that because we were talking about the Buffalo Bills and all these things that were going on and how they were going to be trashed this year. They all these things to work on. He's saying, listen, now people are going to start praising you. Still stay humble. Don't worry about what they're saying. Shake it off, brush it off, and let's get better.
There's still a long way to go for them, and that's a win. We all expected them to win today, didn't we?
You're right.
Yes.
So they went through when they run into better teams, they'll have more of a struggle, I would say. But the interesting thing is watching big guys wearing, really tight shirts with no sleeves. Oh, my God.
I was getting dressed earlier, and I saw Phil looking like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So why did you send me some workout gear?
Because I want you to continue to keep working out.
Oh, okay. I thought it was about how bad my outfit
No.
Only because Sean McManus is wearing the, what do you call it, though? Dry wick stuff,
Yes,
I like my old cotton stuff,
No, you're a dry wick guy now.
All right, dry wick guy. All right, hey, anyway, let me just get this in here. Week 2 in the league gets underway with Thursday Night Football only on NFL Network. It'll be featuring an AFC matchup between the Texans and the Bengals. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on NFL Network. And the State Farm postgame show will come back. These guys have a lot more to talk about. Bill Cowher sitting back calmly. More after this.
We just got to take it one.
This is the State Farm postgame show.
And welcome back to Studio 43 and the State Farm postgame show. And a reminder, join us on Saturday for college football action as the Home Depot SEC on CBS features a top 25 matchup. That would be Tennessee and Florida. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. Eastern with State Farm College Football Today. But right now, we take you back to the highlights.
And how about the Falcons up against the Bears? Let's check out Matt Ryan trying to make a move, and he's looking deep. He finds Austin Hooper, who had all the yards in the game. I believe it was 2 for 128. I hope you had him on your fantasy team. But right here, fourth quarter, 4th and goal. Mike Glennon dropped back. And in fact, he goes down. They had a chance to win. The ball was dropped previous to that play by Jordan Howard. And how about those Falcons starting off 23-7, getting the rhythm? Devontae Freeman getting in the end zone. And also, Julio Jones caught his 500th catch of his career.
Yes, Arizona at Detroit. We're going to see Kerwin Williams. He runs on a 3-yard touchdown run. That made it 17-9, Arizona. And then Matthew Stafford passes down the field to Galladay to score on a 45-yard throw.
Nice catch. Nice catch.
Matthew Stafford starts the game out with an interception return for a touchdown. And look what he ends up with. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, near 300 yards. And Carson Palmer. The big story is that their offense struggled. His 3 interceptions, that was the difference in the game.
I was asking Nate about his old squad as we were doing the show. They were down. I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, they're going to lose this one. They were, what, 17-15?
Right.
35 they come up with. That's 26 second-half points.
They call them the comeback kids, JB.
That's why Matthew Stafford got paid and got an extension.
I hear you, Coach.
I'll tell you, down in Washington, watch this play by Carson Wentz. You're talking about a young quarterback who's got presence in the pocket.
Finally,
he's still extending the play
move.
and looking down the field. Eyes up, young man. Look down it. He's going to find right there Nelson Aguilar right there for a 58-yard touchdown pass. Wentz had 307 yards throwing, 2 touchdowns. And for Kirk Cousins, he was a tough day for him. He had the 1 interception that you see right there. He only threw for 240 yards. And basically, he was the leading rusher. Rob Kelly and him both had 30 yards in terms of rushing the football. And the Philadelphia Eagles go into Washington and get a 30-17 win.
What would you say about that? That's another disappointing home opener for a team that has high hopes and still trying to figure out their quarterback and all that other stuff. There were a couple of drop passes on Kirk Cousins that could have went for touchdowns. I know Terrell Pryor dropped one. But for Philadelphia now, you think, okay, well, we got Carson Wentz, and look at what he did. So the biggest jump for any player, and I think we could all attest to this, from their first year to their second year. Carson Wentz started out 3-0 last year. They lost Lane Johnson, and now all of a sudden he comes back, and look at the significant type of play that he had today to lead his team to victory.
Yeah, 100%. That Philadelphia team, they look good. I want to see a little bit more on Alshon Jeffries. But over to the other side with the Washington Redskins, what I saw in the preseason followed them into the first week of the year.
Yes. No question.
There were some inconsistencies. The rhythm, the chemistry just wasn't there. And then what did we see? Just like you said, boom, we saw some drop balls. It wasn't just Pryor. Crowder dropped one over the middle. They got to step it up and find that chemistry soon.
And you know what? But for the drop balls, I know that Washington was most concerned in trying to show improvement against a top 5 secondary. They weren't getting done last year. Didn't start off good here.
I'll tell you what, the Philadelphia defense, they had 4 takeaways, and they were all over Cousins. That's a good defense. This is a Philadelphia football team that may be one of the second-best teams in the NFC East.
Well, Philadelphia, like a lot of teams in the league, I think they're really strong. Their offensive line is good. They're really good on the defensive front. You got to worry about their secondary. But go back to what Nate said. The Washington Redskins, when their first unit played, all preseason, both sides of the ball, they got overpowered. And I'm not saying they got overpowered today, but they couldn't corral Carson Wentz. Now, he is one big dude. He's strong, and he ran around there with that one hand and makes plays, and really impressive.
To Boomer's point, Boomer, I know it's redundant from last year, but your guys in Philly were talking big time about Carson Wentz and what he brings to the table.
Well, they really were. They loved his leadership. They loved the fact that he's an all-in football player. We were talking about whether or not you can convince your coach you really love the game of football. Well, Carson Wentz loves the game of football. And you see the growth. I saw the growth from Tyreek Hill on Thursday night. Tyreek Hill was a great, exciting young rookie player all over the place last year, but he was all over the place last year. Now, all of a sudden, he's a really solid wide receiver. He understands his role on the NFL football field. He's not overwhelmed. And then all of a sudden, his his abilities take over and his brain gets out of their ways. So that's exactly what's happening with the quarterback in Philadelphia.
And also Nelson Aguilar, he was a #1 pick a couple years ago, so maybe he's going through that maturation as well. And I'll tell you, again, with this football team, I really like this kid. And Schwartz as a defensive coordinator, I'm going to tell you, there's a good combination, a good feel for them right there. The Giants, the Cowboys, they will give them everything they can handle in terms of the NFC East. Washington's got some issues.
I hear you, Coach, loud and clear. All right, back to the Oakland, Tennessee contest. Oakland, of course, impressive in that 126-16, going back to Boomer's point about how Derek Carr set the tone. Yes, a good first victory. We've got much more to deal with. After the game, the locker room reflective of jubilation.
It can't be much doubt.
No.
All right. I mean, this guy, really. We bring him up on the practice squad. We travel him. Hey, Giorgio, I'm so proud of you.
I've dreamed for years about this moment, and it means so much that I get to share it with you all. To see your smiling faces makes all the hard work, the struggle, the sacrifice, the tears.
Hey, we said we're going to come here and have fun. All right, you guys did a great job, right? The conditioning level is outstanding. Yeah. All right, our football team come here, operate the way you did. Way to go, Joe Gomes. Nice job. Hey, that's a good football team. That's a good football team. We know that, all right? A good, tough, hard-earned victory. And you know what we're about, man. We'll go home, recover, and get ready for the next one, right? Yep. Open it home next week. All right, let's have a good one now. All right, bring it in one last time. Here we go. Bring it in. We're all proud of you guys. Here we go. Raiders on 3. 1, 2, 3. Raiders.
Enjoy it. On to the next one. He does.
So, Boom, is that as long as you've ever heard a kicker talk in the locker room?
Especially an Italian kicker. He was born in Italy back in 1990. And, there's something we're going on out there in Oakland, because remember there was a report last week that they wanted Sebastian Janikowski to take a pay cut. He was there. He was out on the sideline. He was rooting for his teammate. He was happy. But Giorgio Tavecchio just basically stole the show. It's the first time a rookie debut kicker has hit 2 50-yard field goals in a game, and of course made all of his extra points, had 14 points on the day. What a performance by Giorgio.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. I think the thing that really, a lot of things catch your attention about the game. Of course, the way Derek Carr played the offense, but I think the Oakland Raider defense. Last year, I watched many of their games, and there was mental mistakes, open receivers all over the field all the time. I thought they had a rough preseason in that respect, but today you didn't see any breakdowns, and they held up against the run. That was an outstanding first game.
They
for this
tackled very well in this game, and I'll tell you, this is a team, again, with all the weapons they have on offense, the defense doesn't have to be spectacular. Just don't give up the big plays, and we didn't see many of them today.
Hey, one of the things that Coach Cowher stressed to me before we started the show was to watch the pitch count. Are we giving you enough time to talk?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You okay?
Yes,
all right, no problem with that?
Just okay. They're picking on me a little over there.
How so?
Why would you say that?
I got tough skin.
Why would you say that?
What do you mean?
Why would
he's getting defensive.
Very wise response.
Well, Nate's calling me fat, and whatever.
Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes. Stiff. And President Trump's strategist, Steve Bannon, in his first television interview. That'll be followed by a new Big Brother Plus, NCIS Los Angeles and Hawaii 5-0. That's all tonight, only on CBS. And the State Farm postgame show continues. We did not, nor will we call Phil Simms fat. We'll elaborate more on that when we come back after this.
I said big bone.
Big bone.
Thank you.
Hey, folks, we'll be back with more football next Sunday, starting right here with the NFL Today. That, of course, comes your way at noon Eastern, followed by a regional action, a lot of regional actions. As a matter of fact, in week 2, many will see the Patriots at the Saints, the Jets against the Raiders, or the Dolphins taking on the LA Chargers. That's all coming your way next Sunday right here on CBS, as we welcome you back inside of Studio 43 and the State Farm postgame show. Take a look at the quarterback comparisons here in this matchup, fellas.
Well, you can see Deshaun Watson came in the second half. At least he gave them some energy. Tom Savage was like a statue in the pocket. He took 7 sacks, I believe, in the first half. Let's go to Bill O'Brien, who spoke about this after the game.
The decision to go with Deshaun really didn't have a whole lot to do with, it had more to do with, could we find a spark? Could we find somebody that could maybe make a play, that could escape the pocket, things like that.
Well, interestingly enough, they are on a short week, guys. They have to travel, as you just promoted before, JB, to Cincinnati Thursday night. This could be really interesting as to whether they go with Tom Savage or the rookie Deshaun Watson on a short week.
Yeah, Boom, we were talking before the game started, and I said, how soon do we see Deshaun Watson? Got to give you credit. You know your stuff. You said sooner than later. And
yes.
You were talking about today, and guess what? Second half comes in because he can't escape the pocket. O'Brien said it. We need somebody, if something does happen where the offensive line breaks down, you got to be able to get loose, and Deshaun Watson, he has that.
I was just skeptical of the game plan. I mean, you cannot leave your left tackle out there without any help. I mean, at some point, you got to give him help, run the football, understand that you don't have maybe your Pro Bowl left tackle in the game. And so, I know Deshaun Watson gave them mobility. Where he goes from this on a short week, and if he goes with Deshaun Watson, it's going to have to be a limited package, doing the things that he's comfortable with. And if it's Tom Savage, you better protect the left side of your offensive line.
Well, they're going to be going to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. And the Bengals, if they got one thing, and they're going to be, of course, upset about the way they played today, but they do have a lot of good pass rushers. So what do you think they're going to see when they look at that Houston offensive line? And, I'm really surprised he didn't announce that he's going to go with Deshaun Watson because there's tons of plays that you can create to make the defense slow down when you have a mobile quarterback like him. And, Tom Savage, his biggest problem always has been a step slow, even in the pocket.
If he has anything at this point, he's got a short week, so I would not name a starter because you'd have to prepare for two quarterbacks who are two different styles.
You've given me some nice setup lines with that in mind. Talk about knowing your stuff. Our guy Jason Lockenfora certainly knows his stuff. As we get an injury update from our to the NFL Today insider, that would be Jason Lockenfora. Jason?
Well, JB, you guys talked about Scott Tolzien starting the game with a pick six for the Colts. They might have to get used to that. Andrew Luck, not particularly close to playing yet. I'm told maybe early to mid-October. He's still in a strengthening program. We'll need weeks of practice before he's ready. We also wanted to just point out something from the early games. In Cleveland, there was a moving scene before the game. Law enforcement, first responders joined arm in arm with Browns players. Obviously, there's been some social activism there recently and some guys taking a knee during the national anthem, but a moving scene here today with everybody arm in arm.
All right, Jason, thank you so very much. As we wrap up the show, let's get the big picture thoughts starting with Coach.
From Thursday to the 1 o'clock games today, we always talk about the home openers and how big they are for those home teams. Well, the away teams are 7-2. And the home teams are 2-7 in the 1 o'clock games and Thursday night. That's my takeaway right now. We have a very balanced league.
Yeah, we all need to keep our eye on the Oakland Raiders. Last year, they were a young team trying to figure out who they are. Guess what? They know who they are, and Marshawn Lynch is back.
I kind of agree with you. I think Oakland was the team that really captured everybody today. There are a lot of people that picked them. A lot of people think that Tennessee is going to be a really good team. But that win on the road, opening week, against a very good team, really tells you exactly that the Raiders are going to be right there in the mix.
Yeah, Kansas City Chiefs winning on Thursday night caught my attention. Some of the games we saw today, very surprising, but what's the big thing after week one that you can't do is what? Overreact.
Panic.
So, yeah, don't panic. We've seen it many times. So let's get a couple games in here before we decide what we see.
So that would apply to you. I've never seen you so sensitive or defensive.
Really?
Down there had the nerve.
I got to ask you a question.
Fat?
Ask me.
So did you like your first day here at the NFL today?
Yes, I did. I liked it a lot. And, it's a lot harder than it looks.
He's right. And Nate does what, like 6 days a week now? So?
Yeah, 6 days a week. I'll be waking up bright and early, 4 a.m., right across the hallway.
Oh, we know about the early wake-ups. Right up.
Right here. Let me play the violin for you, Biggs. Sit down, baby.
Hey, it's all good. An outstanding first day. Hey, thanks to the two new guys. You guys were awesome.
Yes.
No question about it. All right, folks. We have wrapped up the day. An awesome one indeed. And like the big boss says, I'm getting tighter shirts, thinner pants. We'll see you next week right here on the NFL Today. For Boomer Esiason, Nate Burleson, Coach Bill Cowher, and Phil Simms, I'm James Brown. We'll see you next week right here.
Lucius on Boomer's night.